The first voice said, "A bunch of low cards on a lowly job. Cannon fodder. We ain't good for nothing else in a war." A second voice chimed in, "Can't have foreigners, just anyone's walking in and 'bout now, can we?" The third voice responded, "We? Bound to be little left of we with the king's faith as it is these days. Ain't gonna be any invasion." The first voice declared, "If His Most Paleness says worry on invaders, then worry we will, and plenty." All the voices sounded angry and had thick accents. "Losing a child. One of them gets out. You can bet there'll be an invasion. Children always lost, but they can't get out, no way out. There are no more mirrors. Anathema them is." "The hell is an anathema?" one asked the other. "Means there was a poxy on 'em, a ban. Ain't you ever read your history?" "History is for professors and reading is for moppets." "Oh yes, well then, how do you think they get them kids in then without mirrors, genius?" "There's doors still." "There ain't no door in the maze." "What we doing here then if there ain't a way out?" "Yeah, that's right. What are we guarding?" "We're here for intruders." "Why would intruders come into a maze?" "Or maybe we're here because you're too stupid to guard anything other than a maze." "Yeah, who guards a maze?" "We do, you twit!" Blakey now felt woozy, a surge to his head that put him severely off balance as if ballast had been dramatically switched. He braced himself against the wall as they continued to argue. "Well, all I know is I'm starving. How we supposed to do a duty on ill-fed spirits?" "Duty is do it or death. Worry over your stomach when you should worry about your head." Blakey took a deep breath, hoping to settle his head. He then peeked around the corner. 3 soldiers stood at a large, obscenely bulbous cannon, sunken in the leaves with a broken wheel and cobwebs in the muzzle. The soldiers were in soiled Victorian-age Foreign Legion uniforms, brilliant red, just like Vincent's, decorated with red diamond card symbols. They varied in height by 4 or more inches, big, bigger and biggest, but otherwise indistinguishable from each other. Patches of rank on their jackets indicated they were the 10, 7, and 5 of Diamonds, and each held a rifle with a twisted, zigzagged bayonet. Blakey's face went slack. A tidal wave of memory crashed into his brain and swelled it like a sponge toy in water. He knew everything, what was going on, where he was, and who he was. "Oh, dear Lord, no," he exclaimed, going into shock, slumping and retreating from the corner. He slid to the ground and buried his face in his hands, not hearing the soldiers swarm to him. The 10 growled, "And who might you be?" Blakey repeated over and over into his hands, "No, no, 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 no." The 5 barked, "No, show your face." When Blakey opened his hands, his eye was perfectly fine, the poison infection was gone, and the fetid gash had healed. He had perfectly coiffed hair and a waxed curled goatee, appropriately regal and fitting of the stature he now knew he deserved. Blakey looked up at the 7, 10, and 5 of Diamonds who were standing over him, pointing their crooked bayonets at his chest. Ruddy-eyed thugs with rotted tooth smiles, even their facial hair grew sparse and spotty like their complexions. So entirely bloodthirsty from starvation and boredom, one of them drooled in excitement. "Invader? Marauder?" Blakey then confessed, "The White Knight." The card shared a confused look. "I am the White Knight," he declared with closed eyes. The card soldiers took a step back in shock. Then they scoffed in disbelief. "Nonsense! How'd you get here? He looks realish. Look at that garb." One of them prodded Blakey's clothes with the end of a bayonet. "He's from the other side." "Only children and wonderlanders here. You're no child, 'tain't one of us, which means you're an invader." The 10 of Diamonds raised his bayonet to spear him. Blakey smacked it away, annoyed. They wound each other up. "The invasion has begun. Run him in. By order of the high and mighty. Brilliant. Well within our orders." Blakey sprang to his feet with surprising agility and pushed away the rifles, shoving past them. The card soldiers were appalled and pursued. The 10 of diamonds speared Blakey in the calf. With a great angry wail of pain, Blakey fell to the ground. From his knees he turned and pulled the rifle towards him, which caused the soldier to fall. He flipped the rifle and aimed at the other soldiers, who pointed their weapons too, but Blakey pulled his trigger first, yet nothing happened. Ran out of shot last month. The 10 dropped his rifle and unsheathed a sword to lunge. Blakey flipped the rifle back around and caught the soldier in the face with the heavy butt of the gun. The 10 rocked forward, cupping his broken face. Blakey rose and didn't waste any time, bringing the rifle down with his full weight. There was the terrible crack of wood on bone. The other 2 soldiers stopped, surprised at the adept brutality. The 10 of diamonds' face was still covered with both hands, but now blood gushed from his fingers. Blakey hit him again, smashing his back with the rifle. The 10 contorted and stumbled off shrieking, only managing a few yards before he fell over, folded up like a fetus, and died. "You killed him. Why'd you go and do that?" The 7 just stared. Blakey quickly hobbled off through the maze, taking the nearest turns. There was shouting and rattling. He quickly lost the 5 and 7. They were afraid to follow, but Blakey constantly turned to see if anyone was coming after him. Blakey had no idea where he was going, but he knew he shouldn't stop. He waited for the voice to help, but it was not there anymore. He reached the longest length in the maze, where the adrenaline ebbed, and he felt his leg throb. He was out of breath, but nothing like he experienced in the real world. It seemed trivial, like an athlete before a second wind. He hurried to the end of a length that was twice as long and wide as any yet. He then made a left turn directly into the group of diamond-card soldiers who were camped at a circular intersection formed by 10 different paths. There was a brief moment between Blakey and the cards. They were shocked, and Blakey didn't know what to do. Blakey quickly picked the closest of the 10 paths and tried to hobble off, but they surrounded him with bayoneted rifles, cocking them in almost perfect unison. Blakey closed his eyes, fully expecting death. "Hold your fire!" The ring of soldiers parted, and the Jack of Hearts, in an officer's uniform, sauntered through. Blakey opened his eyes to the Jack approaching him. Putrid with power and position, the Jack was in command of this mindless suite of savages. Thick mutton chops covered up his horrible skin and accented his famine cheekbones. His uniform drooped loosely off his bony limbs, and when he reached Blakey, he smiled with a mouthful of rotting gravestone teeth. "Well, Welly, well, what sort of threat do we have here?" The 5 cheerfully reported as he and the 7 finally caught up. "An invader killed the 10. "Did he?" The Jack was gruesomely pleased. "Did he indeed?" "Says he's the White Knight, likely a spy," the 7 accused. The Jack was offended. "And what do you know of spies? In my experience, he who knows of spies is one himself." Jack silenced the grumbling amongst the ranks with a mere glance. "White Knight? White Knight? No, I think not. The White Knight run off years ago. Years, ages, eons. How long was it again?" The Jack looked to the others, not possessing a good sense of time. He checked his pocket watch, shook it, put it to his ear, and then wound it as the others failed to come to a consensus. 8 years. Blakey corrected the oddly stalled proceedings. 80 years. See, forever. Not the White Knight, the Jack exclaimed. 8 years, Blakey repeated. The Jack looked confused. Blakey clarified, annoyed. 8, 1 after 7, 4 times 2, 2 plus 6. The Jack looked offended and sneered. "Don't try to dazzle us with mathematical trickery. You know what we do with mathematics? If you are who you say, then you would know." There was sniggering in the ranks. 8, 18, 80, far too long for you to be him. Intruder, says I. Execute outsiders on sight, says the king. The Jack paced theatrically. The card soldiers picked Blakey up, shoved him against the circular wall between 2 paths, slapped a blindfold on him, gave him a cigarette, and then lined up for the firing squad. A row of coarse-looking crows descended and perched on the wall in anticipation of a meal. "Wait, wait!" Blakey screamed, and they paused. "A last request?" The 7 piped in from the ranks. It was all amusement to them, and they looked for anything to draw out the pleasure. "Yes, of course. Well, speak up." The Jack tried to feign disinterest. "Reprieve?" Blakey tossed out childishly, remembering how things work here, hoping they would bite. They all laughed in unison, until the Jack silenced them. "Not in this market." He then unsheathed and raised his officer's sword. "Ready! Aim!" An idea sprung into Blakey's mind. "I outrank you!" The Jack lowered his saber. "What?" "Just suppose I am the White Knight," Blakey reasoned. "Improbable." The Jack sneered. "Still, if by the slightest chance I were, then I would outrank you, and if I outrank you and you were to shoot me, well, Rule 312. They all turned their heads to the Jack, who grumbled, smiled slyly, and speared his sword into the ground. He then produced a snuff-box. With a dainty pinch, he snorted some and then sneezed explosively. It caused the 2 of diamonds to accidentally discharge his weapon. The bullet just missed Blakey by inches. The others turned to the 2, who apologized profusely. "Sorry, sorry, so sorry." The rest of the soldiers backed away, giving him plenty of space. He held up his rifle and pointed at it as if it were to blame. The Jack produced a service revolver and shot the 2 of diamonds dead without even looking. The shot caused Blakey to wince. The Jack then walked straight up to blindfolded Blakey and announced for everyone, "Rule 312. Prisoners must be executed before tea may be taken." The Jack put his pistol to Blakey's forehead. "And I could go for a spot right about now." Blakey panicked. No, Rule 311, no, 313? The Jack was annoyed. "Well, which is it?" The wrong answer would result in Blakey's immediate death. "I don't fucking know. It's 300. The Jack cocked his pistol. Blakey closed his eyes and then remembered. 311! 311! Blakey sucked in his final breath and waited, but nothing happened. The Jack leaned into Blakey's face, critical and suspicious. He whispered rather delicately to him, "Think you've outfoxed me. You'll soon learn smarts'll get you nowhere here. Later you'll be wishing I pulled this trigger. Mark my words." The others leaned in, trying to eavesdrop. The Jack then switched back to his official tone. "As I said, the king's going to want to see him first, knight or not." The card soldiers groaned in disappointment. "Shut it and bring him." The Jack then walked off, leading the way. The card soldiers followed, carrying Blakey into the maze. 2 cards went to pick up the body of the 2 of diamonds. "Leave 'em for the birds," the Jack instructed without turning back. When the soldiers were gone, the crows immediately hopped down. More arrived, and soon there were so many that they were all able to pick up and fly away with the 2's body.